Starting off with number 10, getting the press on her side. The new Queen of England appears to have made a conscious effort to woo the very press that had made her life hell for over a decade. According to royal biographer Juror, she was seen out and about with Charles as soon as she got married, and when people met her, they were surprised by how warm, friendly, and funny she was. She impressed them. On top of that, she was agreeable to the press and accommodating to the paparazzi. They composed cordial things about her and distributed pretty good pictures, and slowly the general visibility of her changed. The simple, cherishing connection among Camilla and Charles was likewise obvious during their public appearances, a long ways from Charles and Diana's stressed last trips. It is thought that Camilla has transformed Charles, allowing him to be more joyful with her than ever. Number 9, Coronation. Queen Camilla solidified her inheritance inside the English royal family when she was crowned alongside King Charles. Although they've been married since 2005, their love story is not exactly a royal fairy tale like those that have been romanticized throughout history. Instead, it has been characterized by a complicated past that began long before Camilla and the new king exchanged wedding vows. The relationship seems to be one of English history's most convoluted and frightening romantic tales, brimming with embarrassment, treachery, and every conceivable kind of unexpected development that at last shook the royal family to its actual core. Christopher Anderson, creator of The Ruler, The Life of Charles III, USA Today reported, Camilla's relationship with Charles as the celebrated justification for his separation from Diana took the imperial vote, and she long battled with public acknowledgement. Number 8, control. Diana claimed that Camilla was trying to control Harry and William's lives, taking them on international trips and cutting off their contact with the palace. Diana also accused Camilla of causing a rift between the brothers and said that they had been hurt by her behavior. She believed that Camilla was manipulating Charles to further her own agenda and warned him not to trust her. Diana's comments caused a storm in the media, with many people questioning Camilla's influence over the royal family. In response, Camilla denied all accusations and claimed she was only interested in helping Harry and William succeed in their roles as future kings. She defended herself against any rumors of manipulation or control, saying, "I have always respected them both." Prince Charles also spoke out on the issue, stating that he had full confidence in Camilla's ability to help guide his sons. He went on to say that she was a true asset and had his utmost respect, making it clear he would not be taking Diana's advice on this matter. Number 7, unfit for the King of England. Charles and Camilla first met in the 70s, and the then prince fell in love right away after they were introduced by friends. Penny Juror, the royal biographer, wrote in Duchess, the Duchess was not in any way overawed by him, not fawning or sycophantic. Even though they shared a strong bond, Camilla accepted the proposal from Andrew after the prince was sent off with the Royal Navy in '73. Even if things had turned out well for the two of them, the palace didn't think Camilla would make a good fit for the king, because she didn't come from an aristocratic family, which was very important back then. Number 6, Notorious Mistress. Diana and Charles brought in Prince William in '82 and Harry in '84, but by '86 Charles had revived his relationship with Camilla. According to Morton and Camilla's biographer Penny Juror, who described Camilla as the most notorious mistress in the world, both Diana and Andrew Parker were aware of the affair. In '86, Diana also started a series of affairs, one of which was with cavalry officer James Hewitt. During a 1995 interview, Diana confessed that Diana confessed to the issue, saying she revered and was enamored with Hewitt, as indicated by Town and Nation magazine. But the relationship ended around 1991. The public perception of Camilla was incredibly negative following Charles and Diana's divorce. Even before the royal divorce, questions lingered about Charles's future relationships, as the Church of England did not permit divorced people to remarry so long as their previous spouse was still living. Camilla was also not a suitable candidate due to her divorce. Reporters who covered the royals at the time speculated whether Charles will inflict Camilla on the country as queen, calling it an unwelcome prospect. Number 5, phone call transcripts. In the wake of the separation announcement of Diana and Charles, multiple media outlets published the Tampon Gate tape transcript. Some outlets referred to the tape as Camilla Gate in reference to Charles's mistress. Others speculated whether the tape would prevent Charles from someday ascending to the throne. Obviously it didn't, because he is king now. The public was so interested that people could call a phone number to listen to the tape of the actual phone call. Dominic West, who played Prince Charles in season 5 of The Crown, told Entertainment Weekly. A full transcript of the call depicts Charles and Camilla playing the age-old lovers game of refusing to hang up the phone on one another at the end of the call. Number 4, the royal family versus Camilla. Even though Charles and Camilla's relationship was very serious, Camilla was viewed negatively by the royals, but Diana was received with open arms. Beadle Smith claims that Charles always treated Camilla, who was Charles's age, as an equal rather than an idol from the beginning. However, Camilla was not wanted by the royal family as its princess. She was a no-go for the royal family when it came to finding Charles a wife. It is no secret or surprise that Diana's 2 sons never truly accepted Camilla once Charles brought her into the family, and although William might be less vocal about his opinion on her, especially as a future king, Prince Harry never held back his feelings about the Queen. Harry explained that after marrying Prince Charles in 2005, Camilla sought a revamp and was dubbed the villain by the British press because of the connections she was making within the British press that made her dangerous. Number 3, Monarchy's secret weapon. Camilla has also proved herself to be a very hard worker and a secret weapon for a monarchy low on top-tier royals available for public service. She is now the patron of more than 90 charities and has a camaraderie with the public few other royals can claim. She's very chatty with the public and makes them feel instantly at ease, often making a joke or making them feel relatable to her. She is also willing to get her hands dirty. In November 2021, Catherine Johnstone, commander of the Order of the British Empire and chief executive of Royal Voluntary Services, told Hello about a time Camilla was serving meals at one of its lunch diners and immediately started cutting up a meal without hesitation for one of the older diners who had sight issues. I'm not gonna lie, that actually does sound pretty nice of her. Maybe she is gonna be a good Queen of England? I don't know. Thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Camilla's choice of patronages has also shown her not to be the blithe country gal she often seemed to be. She has highlighted the often taboo subjects of domestic violence and assault. Number 2, drinking problem. Charles is said to be on high alert regarding Camilla's drinking issues, which have gotten him into a lot of trouble. Charles had already persuaded his mother not to push him aside in favor of his son William and Kate, and began by describing some trust issues that exist between Charles and Camilla. Camilla was not satisfied with the title of princess consort, which Charles had promised to her when they got married in 2005. She has also aspired to be queen. Her Majesty did not approve until Charles allegedly pulled out his ace card, which we still don't know what it is. Any thoughts? Let me know in the comments. This put Charles on red alert about Camilla's excessive drinking. Before coming to a conclusion, the informant also stated he knows Camilla is a loose cannon who's fallen off the wagon many times before and caused him untold embarrassment. And finally, number 1, blindsided princes. It is said that William and Harry were blindsided by their late grandmother's decision to approve of her title as queen consort. According to Christopher Anderson, a royal expert and author, the decision was driving a wedge within the royal family. Here's hoping that everyone got over it. And although it is said that William and Harry are now friends with Camilla, Prince Charles, their father, has a long history of having an affair with her in the 80s and 90s while he was still married to their mother, Princess Diana. In the end, Charles and Diana split up in '92 and Camilla and Charles tied the knot in 2005. According to Anderson, who spoke with a publication, she was begrudgingly letting him do this, and one of the key elements was he promised Camilla would never be called queen consort. Her Majesty was miserable during Charles's second marriage ceremony. He says the late queen was skeptical about Camilla when she married Charles, and the circumstances were certainly challenging. After the Queen's longtime husband and consort, Prince Philip, passed away in April, Anderson claims Charles was relentlessly pushing for Camilla to become queen consort. Number 10, spreading rumors about Diana. Diana's former chief of staff has blasted King Charles's former courtiers for spreading lies that she was mentally ill. Patrick Jeffson, who worked closely alongside Diana for 8 years, alleges that Charles's staff smeared his first wife in a systematic campaign, while it was an open secret within the establishment that he was having an affair with longtime mistress Camilla. Jeffson said, "This is not just some casual gossip, it was a systematic campaign. Okay, it was a long time ago, but the man they were supporting is now our king, and these things should not be buried. They should not be conveniently pushed to one side." He went on to say there was a lot of nonsense talked about Diana, including rumors that she had an eating disorder and mental illness. He said, "I heard it all from people who should have known better. I think they felt threatened by her popularity, but some of the stuff was just nasty. She didn't deserve it." Jeffson also claims that he witnessed firsthand how Charles was affected by the breakdown of his marriage with Diana. He said there were times when he seemed almost in despair over the whole thing. It was sad to see him so powerless, yet still loving her at the same time. He added Charles was a victim of his own courtiers who had a point of view that was very much the king must be protected, but they failed to realize that people were flocking to Diana and she needed protecting too. Jeffson's powerful condemnation of Charles's former courtiers serves as an important reminder that no one should be subject to malicious gossip or lies, especially someone as beloved as Princess Diana. Even though it happened over 20 years ago, Diana's story still serves as a lesson in standing up against unfairness and injustice. Her legacy lives on in her sons and all those who continue to be inspired by her courage and compassion. Number 9, expensive family. Despite the money produced by the monarchy, the royal family is pretty expensive. Back in 2018 to 2019, they cost taxpayers $86 million. This was 41% more than the previous year. How does it make sense that there are thousands of people in debt, but the funds towards the royals are increasing? Many agree that the education systems would benefit from this wealth more than old people and those born into the crown. Not only does the system cost the British public money, but they're also unable to choose which ruler comes next, leaving taxpayers with no power over the system that takes a huge chunk of their money. If you compare the wealth earned by the royals to the people of the country, it drastically changes the picture. The typical earnings of a full-time employee in England falls at £31,000, while the Queen used to bank around £42.8 million for doing whatever it is exactly that she does. Being born into the monarchy means you will never endure the same struggles as most people. They have no financial worries and aren't expected to work a 9 to 5, but the majority of society works hard to achieve a somewhat comfortable life. Number 8, scandals. This family has been involved in scandals for generations. Being knee-deep in controversies is not a good look for the representation of Britain, but they somehow managed to pay the news outlets to run stories that promote them in a good way. I mean, they managed to be so perfect that people sweep their complete wrongdoings under a rug. Which, might I add, has to be a huge rug. No one is obviously expected to be perfect, but the extent to which the royals have been exposed for their controversies is pretty out of pocket. And the fact that these news stories have not at all gotten as much attention as something as mediocre as what Meghan wore to some event. Political correspondent Nadine Bachelor Hunt argued that the royals are becoming increasingly out of place in contemporary society due to the family's present scandals. Let me know what you think about that in the comments below. And number 7, travels funded by the citizens. The royal family's huge travel budget has more to do than just them having a lot of money, with one trip back in 2017 costing them $5.8 million. It puts into perspective how much thought they must be putting when traveling. A few royal travel protocols they must follow included color-coded luggage, traveling with an entourage, packing a black outfit for an emergency funeral, and royal heirs cannot travel together in a plane just in case it goes down. Number 6, keeping his royal properties. If the king moved out of Buckingham Palace, he wouldn't have to give up all of his royal residences. Buckingham Palace has been used as the official working and living headquarters of Britain's monarchs since 1837, with 775 rooms. It would be used by the king to host state banquets and engagements with world leaders and government officials. It's also a prime location for many milestone events and could become a permanent tourist attraction if the king were to officially move out. The palace is property of the Crown Estate, which the late Queen Elizabeth was the owner of while she was the monarch. Along with their huge and iconic Buckingham Palace, this family has numerous properties. Investing is always a good idea. You can never have too much money, right? But anyway, let's take a look at the kinds of properties this family has. Adding to their 2 palaces. Let's add a third one, the St. James Palace. This was once the former residence of the monarchs of Queen of England before the reign of Queen Victoria. With a total of 30 regal estates, the family owns a 50,000-acre estate in Norfolk, a Berkshire Wendy house, the infamous Kensington Palace, a couple cottages, castles, forts, and many more. By the time I finish this list, this video would probably have been finished. So I did the math, and if you wanted to stay for 1 month at each property, it would take 2.5 years to finish that tour. 30 properties. If I could sign up to be a royal, I would do that just for that reason alone. Number 5, lavish trips. Knowing that they are on the taxpayers' dimes, the royal family is careful with their public behavior when it comes to extravagant spending. While there are often extreme expenses associated with major events such as weddings, the royal family has been known to fly on budget airlines and fund some of their own travel. But that isn't always true. A few trips these royals have taken in the past few years came with an outrageously priced bill. Charles and Camilla have somehow managed to spend $530,000 on a tour they took through the Caribbean. Other trips that were pretty pricey were trips taken by Will and Kate, estimating around $130,000. Just in case you haven't noticed, they're also very careful of their public persona. They feel like they have this sense of responsibility to the public that funds their lifestyle. So if they were acting reckless, they probably wouldn't have as much support, and on top of that, money. So that makes sense. It's funny when the paparazzi tries to catch them in these awkward moments. Thinking about being absolutely perfect and delightful all the time does sound exhausting. Like, do they still have to act perfect when they lose their luggage at an airport? I know a lot of us would be fuming. Number 4, more money for the royals, less for the people. Do the royals cost the government money, or do they make it money? The royals draw tourist dollars as well as publicity for Britain, and in 2017, the monarchy boosted tourism in the UK by more than $640 million. So even though the sovereign grant is growing, which means more money for the royals, the crown estate still provides a lot of money to the government. Anti-monarchy groups don't really think the royal family brings in money, but what do you guys think? Are they just being haters, or do you agree? They think the monarchy costs the country about $400 million a year. And it was estimated that the government's cost to protect the family was over $100 million annually. $100 million to protect the family? I mean, the money could have gone towards better causes like helping with the problem of homelessness or providing money to low-income families. But instead, they really said, let's put millions of dollars towards protecting one of the richest families in the world. Number 3, unloyalty. The revelations of infidelity in his marriage, Charles's marriage to Princess Diana, left him and Queen Camilla deeply unpopular. While he has managed to regain some positive sentiment in the British public, he remains less esteemed than many other members, including Kate and Will. A poll showed in April 2022 that nearly half of Britons think Charles should let Prince William become the next king, and ranks him as the 7th most popular royal behind his mother, daughter-in-law Kate, son William, father Prince Philip, sister Princess Anne, and niece Zara Tindall. Number 2, donation scandal. Most recently, he has been embroiled in controversy over donations to his charities. The Sunday Times of London reported that the half-brothers of a controversial figure made a $1.2 million donation to the Prince of Wales charitable fund back in 2013, but Charles's official office, Clarence House, said the royal did not personally solicit the donation. And number 1, hiding details about their wealth. The royal family is under few requirements to disclose details of its wealth, but all I'm gonna say is, if you want to find out, it's not too difficult to go all Sherlock Holmes on the family. The family's communications with the government are exempt from Freedom of Information requests, and their official papers are kept secret by Britain's National Archives for at least 50 years. The lack of transparency has led anti-monarchy groups, including the Republic, to call the monarchy an unaccountable public institution that has the power, secrecy, and influence to willfully abuse its position. Without a change, many details of the royal family's private wealth may never be known. Facts about the Duchy of Lancaster's offshore investments were leaked back in 2017, and those detailed roughly $13 million in offshore accounts. I wonder what else can be revealed if more docs were suddenly leaked. Other reports have suggested questionable foreign dealings or arrangements. Earlier this year, King Charles was accused of offering to help secure a knighthood for a Saudi national in response to a donation to his charitable foundation. Starting off with number 10, the royal family versus Camilla. Diana was welcomed with open arms despite the fact that Charles and Camilla's relationship was very serious, and the royals had a negative opinion of Camilla. According to Beadle Smith, Charles has always treated Camilla, who was Charles's age at the time, as an equal rather than an idol from the beginning. However, the royal family did not want Camilla to be its princess. She was a no-go for the royal family when it came to finding Prince Charles a wife for a number of reasons, one of which was that she was thought to be an experienced woman. In addition, it was believed that she lacked the aristocratic qualities necessary to be a princess, so they had to break up and move on with other suitors, which obviously did not work out for either one, and ended up with them coming back together in the early 2000s. Former Princess of Wales Diana was adored by the royal family. The Queen thought Diana would be a great match for Charles, and the royal family thoroughly enjoyed her. They got along really well with her too. Diana worked extremely hard to gain respect and set an excellent example of what she believed it would be like to be a princess. Naturally, these points of view spread throughout the community, making the already difficult situation even more difficult. It's not a secret or surprise that Diana's two sons never really accepted Camilla after Charles brought her into the family. Despite William's less outspoken opinions on her, especially considering that he will one day be king, Prince Harry never held back his feelings for the Queen Consort. According to Prince Harry, the Queen and the royal family gradually but surely accepted Camilla as King Charles's person. For a long time, Camilla was portrayed as the notorious third member of the marriage between Diana and then Prince Charles. However, she once more faces criticism that reminds her of a wicked stepmother from fairy tales. Prince Harry claims in his memoir Spare that she was bargaining with the British tabloid media at his expense to get rid of her other women reputation and be seen as a legitimate royal wife. Harry explained that Camilla sought a makeover after marrying Prince Charles in 2005 and was dubbed the villain by the British press. That made her dangerous because of the connection she was making in the press, he stated. In addition, it was clear that both parties were willing to share information. Additionally, given that she was on her way to becoming Queen Consort and belonged to a family with a hierarchical structure, there were bound to be bodies or people discarded out in the open. I see someone who married into this institution and has done everything in her power to improve her own image and reputation for her own sake, he went on to say. I understand why. Despite what Spare may suggest, Prince Harry has so far cast Camilla as a prominent antagonist in the soap opera saga rather than including her in the fractured, self-serving family she married into. On to number 9, disapproval from the Queen. The extramarital affair between King Charles and Queen Consort Camilla rocked the crown to its core and put the final nail in the coffin of Princess Diana and Prince Charles's strained marriage. This is something that is well known to everyone. The prince's mother, Queen Elizabeth II, was furious more than anyone else. For some time, no one was permitted to enter the palace, including the Duchess. In point of fact, the current monarch had refused to meet her prior to the year 2000, so she only met the Queen in that year. But at the reception for the Duchess and Prince, the Queen did say they have overcome Becker's Brook and the chair, and all kinds of other terrible obstacles. I'm extremely proud of them and wish them success now that they have prevailed. My son is at home with his favorite person. On to number 8, Camilla was not accepted by the public. After Diana passed away, the British public stopped accepting Camilla as Charles's lover. Camilla became a supervillain in the royal saga after Diana's passing away, despite the fact that this seemed a little illogical. After her party was moved up, she was forced to hide for several months. According to OK Magazine, royal correspondent Judy Wade stated, "The prince must keep a safe distance from Camilla shortly after Diana's passing. If Camilla is seen anywhere near his home in the next 6 months," she went on to say, "he will be toast." There is absolutely no chance of Charles marrying Camilla now, Royalty magazine editor Bob Houston said. He would have to be the dumbest fool in the world to even consider it. Well, I guess that is what he should be known as now, since they are now married. However, fast forward to the present day, and one of the firm's hardest working royals, Camilla has successfully relaunched herself over time. In a significant vote of confidence, the Queen chose Camilla to be her consort. In the days of Diana's explosive interviews and the tapes of tampons, this result was far from certain and it seemed impossible. Camilla, in contrast to Prince Harry and Meghan, is frequently praised, at least by Sussex detractors on Twitter, for her lifetime of quietness, which is a virtue in the royal environment but odd elsewhere. Because of Diana's passing away and the outcry that followed, Camilla was not seen in public for 8 months. She made her first return for a family wedding. On to number 7, the wife confronts the mistress. After being advised by friends to ignore suspicions of an affair between Prince Charles and longtime friend Camilla, Princess Diana felt that she had to give her husband's mistress a piece of her mind. According to recordings from National Geographic that have been archived, when they approached Camilla about the affair, Prince Charles and Diana appear to have been aware of what they were getting themselves into. Camilla and Prince Charles were conversing with a different friend downstairs when Diana asked her to spend some time alone. According to the recording, Diana remembered Charles rushing upstairs to inquire about her plans and find out the real reason Charles didn't marry Camilla in the first place. Despite the Princess of Wales' assertion that she was terrified of Camilla, Diana boldly stated to her, "I'd just like you to know that I know exactly what is going on." Camilla tried to disprove the claim by claiming that she had no idea what Diana was talking about. Diana recalled Camilla saying that she had everything she could ever want and all the men in the world. When asked what else she could want, Diana told Camilla, "I just want my husband." It's important not to overlook these little-known details about Prince Charles and Princess Diana's wedding. Strangely, Diana apologized to Camilla for interfering with her and Charles, but she remained furious. She stated, "I do know what is going on," to Camilla, and she said, "Please do not treat me foolishly." On to number 6, friends with Charles's wife. Yikes. Before Diana learned that her fiancé was in love with another woman, she and Camilla were good friends. She even anticipated that she would be part of her social circle following the royal wedding. Diana, on the other hand, realized before she and Charles got married that Charles still had a flame for his former partner, even though she was also married at the time. Princess Diana stated that she wondered if she was making a mistake when she saw Camilla in the church on her wedding day. She says, "As I was walking down the aisle, Camilla in her pale gray pillbox hat and her son Tom standing on a chair caught my eye." Andrew Morton, Diana's biographer, recollected her saying, "You know, vivid memory to this day." And counting down to number 5, worst kept affair. After a publicly disastrous marriage, Diana and Charles split up in 92 and got a divorce in 96. One of their main disagreements was his open affair with Camilla, which was the monarchy's worst kept secret. Diana told Martin Bashir in the infamous Panorama interview, "There were 3 of us in the marriage, so it was a little crowded." Diana and Charles split up and started seeing other people while they were still married. Diana had a number of relationships, including one with the heart surgeon Hasnat Khan, and later with Dodi Al-Fayed, the man she was dating when she passed away. Charles remained with Camilla during this time. The undertaking of Charles is known to the overall population. However, by attending and leaving separate events, he and Camilla attempted to conceal their relationship. Charles was busy organizing Camilla's 50th birthday, which would also serve as their first date meticulously. After that, an issue arose. On to number 4, spilling the beans. If Diana had survived, Charles and Camilla probably would have married much earlier. Instead, they kept their relationship private and out of the public eye for a number of years. The Prince of Wales married his longtime partner in 2004. Even though she technically had the option to do so out of respect for Diana, she decided not to style her name as Princess of Wales. On to number 3, unfit for the king. In the early 1970s, Prince Charles and Duchess Camilla first met. After friends introduced them, the prince fell in love right away. In her book, The Duchess, royal biographer Penny Juror wrote, "Camilla claims that the Duchess was not in any way overawed by him, not fawning or sycophantic. After the prince left with the Royal Navy in 1973, Parker Bowles accepted the proposal from her on and off boyfriend Andrew, despite the strong bond they had. The palace didn't think Camilla would be a good fit for the king, even if things had worked out well for the two of them. She did not come from an aristocratic family, which was important in those days." Number 2, what is the staff hiding? Prince Charles's affair with Camilla was once kept a secret from Princess Diana, even by the cleaning staff. Or they tried at the very least. Followers of the royal family are aware the Prince of Wales' affair with the Duchess of Cornwall, which took place while Charles was married to Princess Diana. It is safe to assume that some members of the royal family are unhappy that their affair is featured in the 4th season of Netflix's The Crown, making it one of the most significant royal relationship scandals. But it's harder to find juicy details about their affair. In 95, the prince's valet Ken Stronach revealed shocking details about Charles' affair in a well-known interview with News of the World. He even lost his job because since he broke confidentiality. At the time, Stronach claimed that after Charles would sneak out of bed in the middle of the night to meet with Camilla, he would clean grass stains from his PJs. Prince Charles mates love to Camilla in the bushes of his Highgrove mansion while Princess Diana slept inside. He was careless and took a big risk, but he doesn't even care about the woman. After Charles's midnight romps, a source claimed that there was mud and muck everywhere. They had clearly been working outside, which was evident. Charles even ruffled up his bed with his staff to make it look like he had slept in it. Even though it was very complicated, no one was deceived by it. The valet asserted that the strain of keeping Charles's secrets had rendered him sick. During his time with Charles, he told the newspaper, "We've all been told not to speak to anyone about anything. Due to the strain of keeping his secrets, I became very ill." It's clear that the firm still doesn't like to talk about this royal stuff, even though Prince Charles has admitted to the affair and even married Duchess Camilla. And on to number 1. Speaking of the big affair, it's not a big secret Camilla was hiding a high-profile affair from the world, or at the very least try to. Charles and Camilla made every effort to keep their extramarital affair from Diana and the rest of the world, despite the fact that the Princess of Wales was well aware of it. Before Princess Diana and Prince Charles filed for divorce, Camilla was regarded as a villain, and she was also resented up until the Princess of Wales untimely passing away in '97. However, in the days that followed that tragic incident, Camilla's life underwent significant change. Princess Diana's misfortune was not specifically attributed to the Duchess of Cornwall. They did, however, discover a newfound hatred for her greatest foe after Diana's passing in the Paris car accident. Camilla was forced to hide for months as the situation got worse because of the hatred. Starting off with number 10, tax fraud. The family has been exposed numerous times and has been dealing with a number of issues, one of which is tax fraud. The late queen was once exposed for concealing her embarrassing wealth from the public, which may or may not come as a surprise. It was alleged that Queen Liz's private attorney pressed ministers to modify proposed legislation to prevent the public from learning about her shareholdings. Even though the Queen's actual holdings were never made public, we can only assume that they were obviously in the hundreds of millions of pounds. Invested at least $13.1 million into offshore tax-sheltered funds located in the Cayman Islands and Bermuda, according to Newsweek. Party leaders and anti-monarchists investigated the Queen's finances, specifically her private funds, the Duchy of Lancaster, and discovered that the Queen is evading taxes on her $680 million duchy by $15 million. On to number 9, cheating scandals. The multiple cheating scandals coming in at number 9 on the countdown. Realizing that the royal family has existed for tens of thousands of years has resulted in numerous scandals involving cheating. The beloved future king Prince William was once the subject of speculation. Rose Hanbury, a friend of the family for a long time, was one of the alleged partners. According to reports, this took place while Kate was expecting Prince Louis, the couple's 3rd child. Yikes! Rose, Kate's best friend, reportedly attempted to steal her man during all of this. It is common knowledge that Kate and Rose had a terrible argument, and an insider asserted they used to be close, but obviously that is no longer the case. After the incident, Rose was removed from the social circle by Kate, and William made an effort to settle the situation between the two women. However, when British socialite and food critic Giles Corrin posted the following tweet, "Yes, it's a love affair, although I have not read the piece, I am aware of the affair. Darling, everyone is aware of the affair." The tweet was taken down as soon as it was posted because Corrin has a history of causing trouble. Even though a number of royal experts have also denied the allegations over the years, the general public continues to be curious, especially considering that similar rumors first surfaced a few years prior. In 2017, it was reported that William had a romantic dance with 2 women in Switzerland. He was dancing so wildly that I had to do a double take when I first saw him and thought it must be a lookalike, said one club goer. But everyone soon found out that they were having a party with Prince William. What are your thoughts? Do you believe Will is dishonest? The apple appears to fall relatively close to the tree. A lesser-known cheating scandal involves Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, in addition to Prince Charles's well-publicized divorce from the late Princess Diana. Throughout their lengthy marriage, there were rumors that Prince Philip was caught cheating on Queen Elizabeth. However, there is no direct evidence of this. The most significant of these rumors is that Prince Philip had numerous encounters with dancer Pat Kirkwood. The palace never confirmed or denied this. Kirkwood was a British stage actress, singer, and dancer who appeared in a lot of dramas, cabaret, revues, music hall, variety, and pantomime shows. She also sang and danced. The Pat Kirkwood Show debuted on BBC television in '54, making her the first woman to have her own series on British television. Well, I suppose Philip has a thing for successful women. On to number 8, marriage struggles. Princess Diana had thrown herself down the stairs in an effort to get Prince Charles's attention because she was struggling with her mental health. It was common knowledge that the royal family did not want any information about their own mental health issues to be made public because they thought it would make the family appear weak and vulnerable. Because she was pregnant with Will at the time and was so depressed, Princess Diana made this attempt at self-harm in an argument so that Prince Charles would listen to her. I'm sorry, but I hope that princess is at peace. Sadly, Charles did not respond much to it and completely dismissed the circumstance. On to number 7, interrelations. The royals really like to keep it in the family. Everyone talks about their family tree, but it resembles more of a wreath with the number of times the relationships wrap around. Scholars are likely to focus on the positive changes that Queen Victoria brought to the British Empire during her time in power. Even non-history buffs are familiar with the Victorian era, which lasted for 63 years and 216 days. What is Vicky's lesser-known fact? She married her cousin. On Victoria's 17th birthday, when she was heir to the British throne, the couple first met. They were introduced by King Leopold I, their uncle. Albert and Victoria say in their memoirs that they fell in love almost immediately. That's kind of gross. And 9 children were born to Queen Victoria and Prince Albert, including 4 boys and 5 girls. The cousin-loving gene was passed down because it resurfaced as recently as Queen Elizabeth. In contrast to Victoria and Albert, the romanticization of Prince Philip and Queen Elizabeth's relationship did not sufficiently overshadow their relationship. Through his maternal side, Prince Philip was related to Queen Victoria as a great-great-grandson, and through her paternal side, his future wife was related to the same queen. As children, the two met at family gatherings. The first occurred when Philip was 13 and then Princess Elizabeth was 8. They met again when she was just 13 years old years later. Although they did not begin a physical relationship at the time, they began writing letters to each other, and Prince Philip was 18 years old, which seems kind of old to write letters to a kid. Indeed, royal DNA sharing has probably occurred on other occasions, but royal spouse sharing is an intriguing aspect of royal life. Princess Anne, the only daughter of Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, had a relationship with Andrew Parker Bowles in 1970. Andrew later wed Camilla just a few short years later. Camilla wed Charles in 2005 after having a long affair with him while she was married to Princess Diana. To put things into perspective, imagine your sibling getting married and you both share the same ex. Weird. However, sibling hopping, which has undoubtedly occurred in the royal family, is even more bizarre. Given their turbulent relationship, it is impressive that Charles and Diana were married for 15 years. However, Prince Charles started out by dating Diana's sister. Diana's sister Sarah, whom Prince Charles dated prior to starting a relationship with Diana, actually introduced the future couple. That information about the new king is odd, even though it is neither illegal nor technically incorrect. On to number 6, hidden family members. While most of the royal family is on display like an art exhibit gone rogue, there have been moments throughout history where they try to hide the regal members they don't deem adequate for the public eye. Prince John was the youngest son of King George V, the Queen's grandfather. When he passed away at only 13 years old, we didn't hear anything about him again. The young boy reportedly had epilepsy, and the royal family used a familiar tactic to cope, hiding the child from public view. Royal biographer Christopher Wilson has documented that some family trees entirely leave out Prince John's name. If they feel they have somebody that isn't up to snuff, they want to write them out of the history books, which happened in Prince John's case, Wilson said. However, this wasn't the first time the royals had hidden away family for the sake of a public image. Nerissa and Catherine Bowes-Lyon were first cousins of Queen Elizabeth. They were each born with mental disabilities and were hidden away at the Royal Earlswood Institution for Mental Defectives at ages 22 and 15. Their family also reported the girls passed in 1961 to hide their existence from the public even further. Catherine and Queen Elizabeth were born in the same year, but because the family had little to no understanding of navigating mental disabilities, they lived incredibly separate lives. Nerissa lived another 25 years after being initially labeled deceased, and Catherine only perished in 2014. Crazy to think about the people who are supposed to love you most abandoning you for something out of your control. On to number 5, the extensive travel budget. There is more to the royals family large travel budget than just their wealth. It puts into perspective how careful they must be when traveling, as one trip in 2017 cost $5.8 million. A few trips these royals have taken in the past few years came with an outrageously priced bill. Charles and Camilla have somehow managed to spend $530,000 on a tour they took through the Caribbean. Other trips that were pretty pricey were trips taken by Will and Kate, estimating around $130,000. I need to somehow find a way to go on these trips. I know they have a blast. I mean, how can you not if you're spending hundreds of thousands? Just in case you haven't noticed, they're very careful of the public persona. They feel like they have this sense of responsibility to the public that funds their lifestyle. If they were acting reckless, they probably wouldn't have as much support, so that makes sense. It's funny when the paparazzi tries to catch them in awkward moments. Thinking about being absolutely perfect and delightful all the time just feels so exhausting. Do they still have to act perfect if they lose their luggage at an airport? I know a lot of us would be fuming. If this family woke up one day and decided to become savages, that would make major headlines, and honestly, I would want to tune in. The once royally perfect family goes savage. That's a whole YouTube video right there. Number 4, getting away with their scandals. This family has been involved in scandals for generations. Being knee-deep in controversies is not a good look for the representation of Britain, but they somehow managed to pay the news outlets to run stories that promote them in a good way. I mean, they managed to be so perfect that people sweep their complete wrongdoings under a rug, which, might I add, has to be a huge rug. No one is obviously perfect, but the extent to which the royals have been exposed for their controversies is so out of pocket that it's actually shocking. And the fact that these news stories have not at all gotten as much attention as something as mediocre as Meghan and Harry leaving the palace is crazy. Political correspondent Nadine Bachelor Hunt argued that the royals are becoming increasingly out of place in contemporary society due to the family's past and present scandals. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Number 3, the family does more harm than good for the economy. Despite the money produced by the monarchy, the royal family is pretty expensive. Back in 2018 and 2019, they cost taxpayers $86 million. That was 41% more than the previous year. How does it make sense that there are thousands of people in debt, but the funds towards the royals are increasing, showing where their money goes? Many agree that the education systems would benefit from this wealth more than old people born into the crown. Not only does the system cost the British public money, but they're also unable to choose which ruler will come next, leaving taxpayers with no power over the system that takes a huge chunk of their money. If you compare the wealth earned by the royals to the people of the country, it drastically changes the picture. The typical earnings of a full-time employee in England falls at £31,000, while the Queen banks around $42 million for doing whatever exactly it is that she does. Being born into the monarchy means you will never endure the same struggles as most people. They have no financial worries and aren't expected to work a 9 to 5. The majority of society works hard to achieve a somewhat comfortable life, while others are handed it. Number 2, the royal responsibility workload. At the end of the day, royals are humans too. They didn't ask to be born into wealth. The late Princess Diana and Meghan Markle are proof that the spotlight can be terrifying and toxic. Even though the royals may be lucky to have a luxurious lifestyle, this attention can be manipulated when needed. For example, the royal family could release unexpected news to remove negative attention from another member of the family. As the British public has no say in who becomes the next monarch, there are many situations that leave people unhappy with who rules. An example of an inadequate leader would be when King Henry VI was crowned at the age of 9 months. He hadn't lived a year. How is he expected to possess the maturity of running an empire? This obviously is not the current case. However, it shows how much control we have in terms of the royal family. If a ruler is deemed unfit by the general public, they cannot be voted out. Problematic royals have historically been difficult to remove from positions of power. Another factor to consider is that King Charles was crowned at 73. In the UK, the average age of retirement is 64, meaning you receive a pension, not having to work anymore. Should he really receive the title when he is almost a decade over the age of retirement? And number 1, racism. They've literally had so many racism scandals, it's crazy to think they've gotten away with it, regardless of them being part of a royal monarchy. The most recent inappropriate and tone-deaf situations that had happened were when Princess Michael of Kent recently caught the media's attention for wearing an inappropriate brooch to the Queen's Christmas luncheon at Buckingham Palace. This piece of blackamoor jewelry fetishizes images of slavery and is considered dated and racist. This definitely had people wondering why she would wear it, especially around Duchess of Sussex Meghan. Another problematic example was exposed within Oprah's interview when Meghan admits that there was a conversation about how dark Archie's skin tone would be. Prince Philip had a history of making racist, tone-deaf, ignorant, and overall offensive comments stretching back nearly 40 years. With many instances that highlight his behavior towards other cultures and ethnicities, here are a few examples that he should have known better than to say or even think. During a visit to China, he recounted Beijing as being ghastly and joked about British students becoming slitty-eyed if they stayed there too long. It seems like Prince Philip would have benefited from a few lessons of anatomy. He poked fun at the kinds of food Cantonese people traditionally eat and once asked a native person if they still throw spears at each other. Well, we can only hope that the controversies Prince Philip started helped the other members of the family to educate themselves on cultures around the world, especially if they plan on continuing to travel globally. But that is all for today. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to like, comment your thoughts on this family, and subscribe to our channel for more juicy royal updates. I'll catch you next time on The Rich Life.